What happened to you? What happened to you this week?
As a
Okay.
keynote. I'm going to be the keynote speaker at a grade 12 graduation on Friday in Wallaston High School. Super excited. And their theme is My Tomorrow Will Be Greater Than My Today. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Super excited, looking at 200 students, 50 to 60 teachers, and then parents. They're not sure how many parents will attend, but maybe let's say half of these are 100 parents, and then 4 principals and deputies, and obviously other educators visiting.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. Excited.
Amazing. I'd love to see you speak. So if there are any events that we are welcome to, and even like fit schedules and things, I would love to see you.
Okay.
Cool, man. Well
accept
done.
the invite.
So we'll be praying for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, cool, man. It's an incredible opportunity to inspire the youth there.
No, it is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, nowadays every neighborhood has its own challenges and its own troubles and aspirations and dreams. But I think sometimes we're so used to not seeing great opportunities that they start to believe that that's not
the norm.
Something for them.
For them.
There's like opportunities for people that are more
outside
people that are chosen or people that are better or those people have opportunities, not us.
Yeah.
And talking about opportunities,
Thank you, Paolo.
Nicole Reno, you have a life of opportunities to share with us.
Yeah, lots of opportunities.
Last week we were interviewing Brian, that now is part of the team already.
Yes. If you're invited twice, then you know at least you're doing something right.
100%. I've got such awesome feedback, which I will share with regards to that. And you have such a powerful story. So I'm grateful. I'm still thinking about it, what was spoken on last Wednesday. So yeah, keep up the good work and we're going to hear so much more.
Yeah. So carry on. Tell us where you come from. You told us your name. You are married. You have a child. How many children you have?
I've got one. I've got a little 4-year-old daughter. I'm originally from Strandfontein, Cape Town, South Africa, and I'm in the northern suburbs.
On the last conversation, I'm not quite sure. On the last episode, you mentioned something about. It was not on the episode because it was the chat after the episode, the after party.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned how growing up you had this kind of challenge, almost like a struggle in identifying yourself, being, because you mentioned like, being a colored woman or speaking strictly as a colored woman, but then growing up you had a challenge identifying yourself with the colored culture and community, and growing up like you too white for the colored and you too colored for the white, and you tell us about that journey of discovering yourself and discovering forming your identity in 30 seconds.
Wow, no pressure. Well, I grew up in Strandfontein, and the environment was a colored community, and what I was feeling was very internalized. So I would hang out with friends, and they would have this what do they call it, the vernacular, the slang. They would speak in a certain way, and I was never taught to speak that way. Just proper language, proper English, and so I felt very out of place, and didn't feel like I connected. Just because I didn't sound the same. I didn't, simply because I didn't sound the same, and I didn't speak the slang. But these were still my friends. Just felt a bit disconnected. And when I felt a bit more connected was as I got older and I ventured out of my community. And now you saw more people from different races, different cultures, different backgrounds, different levels of skills and education, things like that. And I realized that sometimes we just become friends with people based on environment and proximity.
Okay.
And because they are in your circle all the time and you see them most of the time, that's how you build relationships and become friends. And what I'm realizing as an adult, that's got absolutely, or friendships and relationships shouldn't be based on proximity or environment. It should be based on your values. So now, as I'm realizing what my core values are, and I'm finding people that share similar values, it doesn't matter if you live around the corner from my home or if I've got to drive out a distance to see you. I'm learning to cultivate friendships and relationships with people that share the same values as me. And it's important to have things in common. It's very important for you to have things in common because that brings about a connection. This conversation is reminding me about Liesel, that was part of our previous podcast. And she always spoke on the human connection and how important that is. But if you don't have that connection with people that don't share the same values, there's always going to be a clash. There's always going to be that disconnect. There's always going to be that feelings of I don't belong. And for the longest time, I felt like I didn't belong. I'm sure, I don't know if you guys will be able to relate, but relationships are very important to me. People's very, very important to me. So I cultivate relationships quickly.
Yeah.
And I get a bit too invested and a bit too attached. And with the wrong mindset at the time, I would cultivate relationships with the wrong people. And then people would walk out of my life without reason or explanation. And I cannot understand, causing myself anguish and questioning what's wrong with me. What did I do that they don't want to be my friend or things like that? And now that the mind shift has changed to connection on values, and I understand when somebody walks out of my life, or when I walk out of somebody else's life, because we don't share the same values, and I'm at peace with him walking away now, because that's okay. We just don't share the same values. Where before, when I didn't understand this concept, when I didn't understand values and what they actually are, I would be so hung up on the relationship, and I would, like I said, cause my own anguish, cause my own sadness, and I really feel like there was something wrong with me when it was just.
Because in that age, you're not thinking of what is important, values. What is important to me?
You're not mindful.
What thinking?
Who am I?
What do I want out of my future? What thinking is important to me? What kind of behaviors are important to me? What aspirations are important to me? At that age, you're thinking, am I liked? Am I accepted?
Yes.
Yeah, because what I know about the colored communities is that they are really a clan-based community. They want everyone to fit in a certain lifestyle, a certain circle. Even the way you speak, it's a big deal that you don't speak, the slang. If you don't speak the slang, it's sort of like you're putting yourself above us.
But that happens in every culture.
Yeah. So they are like that, to the point that now I'm trying to understand, Coach Nicole, getting to a point where you actually at a conflict in regards to even the way you speak is different from them, such that you are trying so much to relate to them, but because you're speaking a certain way, there's a certain way that they see you. And now you start to identify yourself as you are the problem, not knowing that actually your English is good and you've been raised well, to the point that you need to be, proud of having managed to have such a beautiful accent and speak well.
I think I was just different.
We are afraid of being different.
Yeah, I think I was just different. So I didn't feel like I fit in. That the colored people are so beautiful, and we've got so many.
They're very colorful.
Very colorful. These different accents. We look different.
Can I ask you something? Yeah. When you're growing up, did any of your friends or anyone ever make you feel like you did not fit in? Is there any incidents? So it was just you thinking.
That's why I started off with saying it was internalized.
Yeah.
It was differences I noticed.
And it's crazy how we think or affect even our relationship to the point
And it
that we
affects your
sabotage
reality.
or
When did you become aware of that need of, okay, it's not about am I worth it or do I belong, but rather I have a destiny, I have a purpose, I have a calling, I have a unique way of thinking, and this is just who I am, and that's okay.
Definitely. I think it all started with my upbringing and my parents, with the values that my mom had, with studying. She always harped on education, because it's something that she wasn't privileged to receive. So she wanted that for children. And my mom used to sit when my parents couldn't afford to like buy a notebook with activities in, and my mom was teaching me the alphabet. It's very, very important that I share this. And she would take a pencil and she would, like, on a piece of paper, trace out little dots, and that would be the letter A. And she would trace out the letter B, the full alphabet. And then she would teach me to trace out
the dots, to connect the dots.
To connect the dots. And
so she created the didactical books
that
you would have just bought if you could.
Exactly.
So she went and did it for you.
Very resourceful. And so my mom taught me to be resourceful. She harped on education was important. She sent me to creche. We were chatting yesterday. She said, Nicole, I never had the opportunity to go to creche. She's very proud that her grandchild is going to creche. And I told my mom, it's because you installed that. You installed education. It's natural for me to want to send my child and get an education. So it started there. So I always felt like, and then I would look at my community and my environment. And then I would see my peers standing on the street corner, loafing for a 2 rand or 1 rand, to buy an inchi cigarette. And just, God knows, sort of like I had no aim, direction, ambition in their life. And I could see how they were like withering away. And my mom would always like tell me, if you don't get yourself educated and you don't want more for yourself, that's how you're going to end up. And it was something that was just never an option for me. So my upbringing was going to school, coming back home, going to church, coming back home. My mom would walk with me to the shop and come. Like, we could never really mix with the kids in the area. It was very, very strict. On the odd occasion, I'd get to sleep out by our aunt, with my cousins, but we were not allowed to sleep out of the house, at friends' places. It was good. Like, I think if I look back now, at the time as a teenager, of course, there's so much pushback. There's too many rules. Parents are too strict. However, with that foundation that was set, now I can look back as an adult. That's a very big reason why I decided things like, personally, for me, this was important to me. I didn't want to have any children before I got married. It was very, very important to me. So that was like part of my future vision. I wanted to, have a bit of a career or know exactly what I'm doing and just be secure in myself. Yes, and I was told that I'm a multifaceted individual and I can do anything I want to do. I don't have to just do one thing. So my mom always and my father always preach, study, self-learn. I think the foundation definitely started just with my folks. And then there's like the media. So I would watch movies, and I remember my favorite show was Top Billing growing up. And I always wanted to be a Top Billing presenter.
Top Billing on podcast.
I always I admired watching Top Billing. They were just so classy, and I could see myself like doing that. So just having those examples, and then not seeing it in my community, and that's why I decided to like venture out. I mean, I haven't ventured like far out. I'm only in Cape Town, but some people get stuck in their little communities, and they go to work and they come back to them, and they grow up in the community, and they get married in that community, and they stay all their lives there, and they don't venture out, and they don't know there's more for them. So I've been bitten. I've seen that there's more I've been an employee. So that was like my first transition, being in the working environment, and then seeing people at like retirement age still struggling and working hard. And that didn't appeal to me. Then I quit my job and I ventured into being an entrepreneur. I'm starting my own business in fitness. And
you're starting your book.
And I love what I'm doing in fitness, but still it's an active income. So what's the next level? You know? I think I'm just the type of person that, like, what's the next level? How can I grow more? Just share quickly. I've got these alarms on my phone every hour because I want to get into the practice to be speaking to God more and just growing my spirituality.
Wow, that's amazing.
And sometimes you just focus on a Sunday when you're going to church and then you forget to be aware during the week. And I thought, how can I be more aware? So I literally got alarms on my phone every hour with a little message. They call it a breath prayer.
Okay.
Where you just mutter something under your breath in that moment. So I could be like, okay, wait.
What was this message?
11. Let's say 11.
What was this message?
11. Come, Lord Jesus. That was today's at 11 o'clock. So I put little breath prayers in just to remind me. So, Lord, have mercy is the first one. Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening. And just like to remind myself to be aware. And let me tell you, since I've had this practice, I'm more calm, I'm more aware, my weeks are peaceful. It's lekker. So that was the alarm.
Wow.
It's relationship, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's relationship.
And I was thinking a few weeks ago, I take so much time, and people in general, we take time to build a relationship with Brian, with Paolo, with our husbands, with our wives, your friends. But and I want a better relationship with God. But I make effort to have a relationship with you. I make an effort to get to know you. So I'm treating it the same. I'm making an effort to get to know you. That relationship is going to be priority and top tier. And once it's so I'm getting to know you.
Every hour.
I'm getting to know you. So it's been good.
This is such an important point because in everything that we're talking about, in discovering your identity, your purpose, what are your values, where you start to have a relationship with other people, not based in are you part of my clique, are you part of my group, are you part of my heritage, are you part of my race, or are you part of where I came from, but rather what are your values? Are you aligned with my goals, my purpose? Doesn't matter where you come from. Do you have a healthy ambition for the future? Do you have a vision for your own life? Do we share values where we can come together and benefit each other in this friendship? Then you choose relationships that add value to your values. Right? And the scripture teaches us that as we know who we are in Christ, who we are in the Father, then we know who we are. So that transition from identity, value, and purpose has to happen. Growth and contribution are needs of the Spirit. And it's only when we truly fulfill those two needs to continue growing, the developing, as you were touching on, financial intelligence, taking your education from just the classroom to what does it apply to your personal life? Going from being an employee to being a personal trainer, to learning about fitness, to now you shared with us on the last episode that you started now writing a book. So thinking contribution beyond yourself, like what is the legacy that I'm building? How does my life create a positive impact on those around me and in the generations to come? So talk to us a little bit about the book that you're writing.
Well, your master love.
Master love. I love that title.
Like I mentioned last week, book is a tribute to all colored mothers, single mothers, who has had the unfortunate experience to raise the kids alone due to absent fathers. what they've had to go through, the struggles, the trials, the tribulations, what lessons they learn, and what they want to share in terms of, how can I put this, like what lessons they learn and what advice that they would like to give to women out there, specifically colored women, because that's my background, that's what I know. I can't speak as any other, that was my experience. So, and it will just be a book in the form of short stories, sharing people's experiences, like real life experiences. I'm very excited about it. Something I do want to share with regards to one of the stories. So one of the moms, she found out she was pregnant and she was with this guy, and she called him up and he told her, and she shared now the news, hey, you know what, I'm pregnant. And his response was, forgive me, my first language is Afrikaans, so English I will translate. So in Afrikaans, he says, ek ken haar nie, en ek wil nie ook vir haar ken nie. Sorry, I slow butchered that. But translated is, I don't know her, and I also don't want to know her. Right? Mm. And that was the end of that relationship. And as a mother myself, if I had to ever call up my partner, if I had to call up my husband and say, we're dating at the time, hey, Wayne, I'm pregnant, like, and that's the reception and that's the response. It's devastating.
Yeah. It's just beyond heartbreaking.
It's devastating. And that really like struck a chord with me, and that's just like one of many stories, many little incidents of just the lack of empathy, the lack of responsibility, the hardships the moms have to go through, and a little child start to life in that way, so these type of stories we will highlight, and like I said, we'll share all the challenges, we will share all the advice, and if this could just help one woman make a better decision or be able to see what the red flags are, it's the goal.
What a blessing that with your upbringing, how your parents raised you, and like you said, at the time it was not totally welcome, because as a teenager you thought my parents are too strict. But yet you went on to, you had obviously different relationships, but you always made a choice to only have a child when you were married, and you married a guy that loves you and cares for you. And if instead of looking for where's the right person, where's Mr. Right, where's Mrs. Right, rather we start working on ourselves. And what are my values? Who are the people that align with the values I treasure, and then will then help me build a better life?
Glad you got to that. Now, I came to Paolo as a life coach because I needed help. I was struggling in my marriage, and I decided to come to Paolo to work on myself, which I did. And he helped me with my communication, because I was very reactive, and I knew if I'm going to carry on being reactive, my relationship is not going to last, because my husband's not reactive. It causes a very volatile situation. Anyway, worked on my communication, started implementing it, practicing the communication, and just today, this morning, I was chatting to him and to my husband, and I said, do you remember that incident that we had a few years back that basically caused me to come to you? I said, I am so glad it happened. I can't believe I'm saying this. And I said, I'm so glad it happened. And I said, because today, especially, I feel so much more connected to you. I am so in love. Our relationship is stronger than ever. But it wouldn't have been has it not been for what the struggle that we went through. Because of the struggle we went through, I asked myself a specific question without giving, I'm like not ready to give anything away, but without giving anything away, I asked myself a specific question, and I wouldn't have asked myself the question if the situation didn't happen. And now, 3 years later, we are in an amazing, I feel like I'm still in the honeymoon phase. We've been together for almost 10 years. And that was the revelation this morning. It had to happen.
Yeah.
And things happen in your life, good or bad, always for your greater good.
Yeah.
Always.
Life is happening for you, not to you.
Yes.
And
it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's happening for you. I don't think my level of relationship would be at the level that now if the struggle didn't happen. So I'm grateful. I can't believe I'm saying.
So it reminds me of the conversation I had at Espresso a few months back, where disruption has to come because it's part of growth.
Yeah.
Disruption is taking you out of your comfort zone so you can get to your next level, right?
Yeah.
Disruption without guidance brings chaos.
Yes.
Disruption with guidance brings growth.
Yeah.
So again, the scripture says, be thankful for all things, right? And another verse says, for we know that our God is able to work all things for the good of those that are called and that love him.
Yeah.
Everybody's too quick to be labeled and too quickly to label themselves.
Yes.
The pearls that we got out of the interview with you today, transitioning from focusing on am I liked and am I accepted to what are my values and who should I accept or not in my life. So going from I need approval from others to it's time I start choosing who I approve.
Where's your application?
Yeah. Who do I allow in my life? Because what influence do they bring into my life?
Definitely.
Yeah? That was a very powerful note for me. Brian, what did you get out of this fountain of resources and wisdom?
Of youth. Thank you.
Of youth. One of the important things that I got is to say, it's not that you are not accepted by the society or community. It's just that you have not accepted yourself as who you are, and therefore you feel like an imposter when actually you're accepted. But it's about being true to who you are. And one of the important things that I got is, when I know who my Father is, who God is, then I know myself, then I know who's meant to be in my circle, and that way my life is fulfilled and every other thing falls into place.
It does indeed. It does. And you just do it, what you were saying there, you use the word imposter, takes me back to that imposter syndrome. Like we can definitely have an episode where we get into that, but that's in a nutshell how I felt like. And sometimes we still get it, I guess. When there's a new opportunity or a new challenge and you feel like, oh my gosh, am I skilled and qualified to do it? And you feel like a little bit, but people wouldn't ask me. The opportunity wouldn't come if you are not ready, so you are not an imposter.
So do you have imposter syndrome? Are you perhaps in a phase in your life where are you trying to fit in and struggling with, at the same time feeling, but I have this feeling of certain things that are unique to me and certain values. How do you reconcile that? How do you balance being unique and being part of a group? Being accepted versus being different, right? I think the two dynamics are very important.
Yeah.
So as you watch the episode, write down your comments. Let us know how you think about this. And this is us for today, guys. Episode 2. We're still on the part of introducing the coaches. So I hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think. And Coach Paulo Mendes, Transformational Life Coach and Relationship Coach, signing off.
Coach Nicole, we're going to still work on this introduction. Signing off.
Coach Brian, Transformational Speaker, signing off.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.